everyone, so in this video we need to set up our disco ball so we can later paint our tints and shades on top of it. So everyone's gonna get a kind of wonky piece of paper. It looks like this. What we need to do is we need to get our circle traced into this shape. So everyone will also get tracers. What you want to do with the tracer is you want to line it up on the paper so that you can see paper on every single edge of the circle. And what I mean by that is make sure you can see white around every edge. If it comes off like this, it will not work. And even if it's coming off the edge a little tiny bit, it will not work. Once it's lined up correctly, hold your hand in the middle of the tracer and then take your pencil hand and very lightly trace the circle. This will allow you to get the perfect tracing. On the back too, make sure you write your name. For the next part, we have to sketch in our lines of our disco ball using pencil. So to start, we are going to do one vertical line going straight down the middle of our circle. It does not have to be perfect, and you can also notice I'm using a really light pressure because if I make a mistake, I can easily erase and then keep going. Like I said before, it does not have to be perfect. So one straight line across, okay? Now, if it helps you too for the next part, we're gonna be doing curved lines. If you wanna tilt your circle just to help your hand move, you could do that. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna do curved lines that curve all the way across our circle, but we're gonna start and finish close to the top and the bottom. So what I mean by that is a curve arch like this, and I'm working really lightly, and I end on the top here. Then I'm gonna do another. When I do the second, make sure it does not cross with the first. And I'm gonna do another. And I can fit one more, so 4 here. If you make a mistake on this part, it's totally fine. Just erase and adjust. So I had a little bit of overlapping right here, and I'm just gonna adjust it right now while I'm working in pencil. Okay. Next, we have to do the other side. I'm gonna turn my circle just so it can help my hand flow better, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing. These curved lines give the illusion like it's a ball or a sphere, like it's popping off the page. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing, but turned. So you see I have my original starting line here. Now we're gonna do the same thing across. So I'm gonna go left to right, straight line, all the way across. It looks like a T. Then start those curved lines at the part where you started. So curve all the way across, stretching. Now is your time to adjust if you need to, because we're still working in pencil. So if you see any lines that are overlapping or that you don't really like, adjust them now. Next, what we're gonna do is trace all of our lines with Sharpie. Perfect, my lines are all traced. Now there are a few spots where I kind of strayed off of my pencil line on accident. So in those spots, I just made that line thicker to cover it up. I also have some spots where I went way off of my pencil line. So right now I'm gonna take my big eraser and I'm gonna erase those. For this project, we are going to be using tints and shades to paint in all of the different areas of our disco ball. So for this, you're going to need a skinnier detail brush, just a regular brush, water cup. We're using tempera paints for this. I also have a paper plate nearby for color mixing, and I have a paper towel just in case my brush gets too wet and when we change colors. So to start, what you want to do first is you want to pick your main color. So for my main color, I'm going to pick purple. So take your brush, tap into a little bit of paint. Now, since we are painting different areas that are different sizes, you may have to switch between the normal brush and the detail brush. So take that paint very slowly. You're going to start filling in those square shapes. I would recommend starting with 10 or so of just your regular color and then we'll work with our tints and our shades. Notice how I'm using small brush strokes. I am not going fast, and I'm also trying to stay inside of the Sharpie lines. An art word we want to think about too is balance. I'm trying to put this same color balanced throughout the entire piece. I don't want to have all of this purple in one area, so spread them out and make it balanced. Also, bigger brush is for bigger boxes, smaller brush for smaller boxes. Perfect, so I have a good balance of my regular purple. Now we're gonna use our paper plate to mix some of our tints and our shades. So a tint is when you add white to a color, and a shade is when you add black to a color. So to start, I'm gonna do the white. Clean off your brush. You're gonna put a little bit of white onto your plate. Clean your brush again. Get a little bit of that purple and mix them. You want to mix enough paint so that you can fill in about 5 or 6 boxes. So I'm just going to use this paint on my plate and start filling in as many boxes as I can until this paint runs out. Perfect. So my paint is just about up. I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I need to add even more white. So you're trying to get the lightest version of your color as you can possibly get. Okay, you're going to pick your squares, do the same thing until your paint runs out. Perfect. So next we want to do our shades, and our shades are when you take a color and add black. So same on your paper, you're going to get your color and your black, and you're going to mix it together and then start adding it in. Last I'm going to do the same thing, but add a ton of black to get it as dark as I possibly can, so it's almost as pure black as you can get it, but still see that color. And then I'm gonna just continue with those shades. Perfect, and now that I'm done, I'm just gonna mix custom colors to fill in the spaces that I've not filled in. So if you wanna mix some of your colors on your paper and see what you get, and then use them to fill in the last spots you can, or if you wanna just add the pure color back in, you can also do that too. The last thing I'm going to do is just double check to make sure there's not any super large white spots in my piece. And then when I am done, I'm going to pick it up like a pizza and bring it over to the drying. As one final bit, after my piece is dry, we are going to cut these out. So you're just going to cut along your original Sharpie circle. As a final optional step, if you want to do this to really polish off your piece, you can take a Sharpie and trace over any of the extra lines. And you can also change the thickness of these lines. So if you want to make a couple lines thicker, it'll really bump up the values within your piece. What's nice about doing the final part in Sharpie is I can cover up any of those little mistakes that I made where my paint didn't fully cover my area by making a thick, darker line. All right, my piece is now complete. Next, we have to upload to Artsonia.